This is Dr. Smith, and I'm making a little special video up here to go a little bit more in detail about how to use AI as a general education teacher, but also special education altogether. So, anyway, just to kind of recap AI capabilities, personalization, accessibility, and data driven insights. We've all heard these things before, and in our environment of special education, personalization is very key. It actually links to engagement. It actually does. So now let's go ahead and take a look. So this is how I used AI in order to save me time, an enormous amount of time and everything else, just to give you an idea of what it's all capable of. Well, first, we're going to talk about the mathematics framework. In California, when we came out with the Common Core standards in 2010, subsequently, there was a new framework. This came from the state that actually takes a look at those standards and develops their frameworks and their additional guidance of how to implement these standards. And so, uh, what I wanted to take a look at was the one that came out in 2013 was right after the Common Core. We had already been implementing everything else. I kind of gazed through it, just like a lot of teachers and stuff. It used to be when we started out that we would go through in-depth analysis of it. Those days are gone. But the true thing is, here's the new framework. So what I did, but this is how I used AI. What I did with AI was that I pulled the 2013 um, blueprint, and I wanted to compare it to the 2023. This is the 2023, and this is the 2013 framework. And then I uploaded those files into Chat GPT 4, because you have to do 4 in order to upload. And so I uploaded this thing, and I asked the following question. Please perform a comparative analysis to summarize the major changes between the math frameworks for integrated math. I am a new high school math teacher and I have received no training on the frameworks. So it does help when you're creating. This is what we call a prompt. And prompt engineering is the thought process that we go through to create this so we can get ChatGPT and AI to give us the right output. So in this case, ChatGPT did the following. It said, based on the following information with the following documents, and here's a comparative analysis. See that comparative analysis word? That's one of the words that a prompt engineer would use, telling it exactly what we want it to do. So what did it do? It went to content and focus. It broke it out as the earlier framework and the newer framework. Let's take a look what it did here. The focus was primarily on establishing and extending students' understanding of linear and exponential functions, solving equations, and making connections with geometry through congruence and transformations. The newer framework continues this, but integrates more real-world application and modeling, making explicit connections between algebraic functions, geometry, and applications in the data analysis. There's a stronger emphasis on using mathematics as a tool for reasoning and problem solving. Then it goes into instructional approaches. It says it characterized learning objectives and instructional strategies for broad mathematical practices. Now the newer wants to highlight that integrated approach to teaching that combines content knowledge with mathematical practices. It encourages engaging students through investigation. Next, it also goes over the integration of technology and tools. And earlier it says it was acknowledging the use of technology like graphing calculators and teaching and learning, um, but it was more about enhancing traditional teaching. The newer framework says the use of technology is more deeply integrated in the teaching practices, promoting it to its use not just for solving. Hey, here's wake up. This is what we need to do. It's not just enough to teach math as a math teacher. I need to show my students why that math is important and how it connects to the real world applications. If you're not using technology and you're not integrating tools of technology, then you are teaching math incorrectly. Incorrectly. Next is the emphasis on modeling and real world applications. It says in earlier, it just mentioned it. It was predominant feature. Okay. But the newer one, it says a significant shift towards real world applications. Then it also gives changes in standards and mathematical practice. It says the mathematical practice were described in terms of abstract reasoning, problem solving, but the newer focus is to use these practices as the vehicles for driving investigation, understanding real world problems, and connecting different areas of mathematics. The practices are more explicit, like to the real world. See, these changes reflect a broader educational trend. When I saw this, it was like, oh my God. First of all, how much time did this save me as the teacher, as a general education teacher, of understanding the difference between the 2013 framework and the 2023 framework without having to go through all the boring pictures and everything else? I mean, teachers are like students as well. We can get disengaged. I mean, it's a lot of information in the framework. Is it important? Yes, because the state has decided to say, hey, these are the guidelines. But how many teachers are actually going to be taking it out and reading it? I mean, it's really the same thing. I can write a book. It doesn't mean everybody's going to read it. It doesn't mean everybody who buys the book is going to read it from cover to cover. My purpose in this case is to introduce you to AI and the power of it. And if you are a general education teacher or a special education teacher and you don't know how to do prompt engineering, you, you are way behind the times and you are actually not helping our students. Okay, engagement. So after I did that, combine those frameworks, I said, well, wait a minute. I still have urine testing. How many of you have urine testing? I just did urine testing this last week, and I still have students that I'm up for helping to do the urine testing. But the question is, I'm also gotta prepare students for the end year test. But how do I do that if I don't know the standards? So I did the same thing. I uploaded the standards for AI, in this case for SBAC, for our testing. In this case, I got the most up to date one. And I wanted to see if this aligned to the 2023 framework. And this is what it did. It went back into the integration of content, depth of knowledge, the emphasis on modeling and real world applications. Let's look at some of this thing when it came up to. It says the adjusted blueprint for high school aligns with the 2023 framework. Well, that's good news. By emphasizing several key areas that reflect the evolving goals and methodologies in mathematics education. And here are the ones that's the most key. Integration of content areas. They want us to learn mathematics, but learn where different areas of math are not taught in isolation, but it's interconnected topics. Okay. So the depth of knowledge, both the framework and the SBAC emphasize higher DO key levels, emphasis on modeling real world applications. The new framework encourages students to communicate their mathematical thinking clearly and to reason through problems systematically. And here we got use of technology and tools. While the framework advocates the strategic use of technology and tools in learning mathematics, the SBAC incorporates this by assessing students' ability to select and use appropriate tools for solving problems. This reflects the framework's focus on teaching students to be resourceful and to use technology or technological aids effectively. Overall, both of them align. So the SBAC adjusted standards aligns with the 2023 framework by integrating learning application. So I went, the best thing about this is it's like carrying on a conversation. So after I got all that information, what else did I want to know? So I said, I'm an alternative math teacher at a continuation high school where I receive 11 graders throughout the year who arrive to my classroom about 90 days before the start of the test. And these students have had no success in math previously. Is it possible to use problem-based learning activities that are culturally relevant to maximize student engagement and help prepare them for SBAC assessments by focusing on these key areas of alignment? Let's see what ChatGPT came up with. Again, it says using problem-based learning that are culturally relevant can be an effective strategy to engage the students and prepare them for SBAC assessment. Hey, guess what else I'm doing as I'm going through developing this prompt and going through it? Guess what? I'm doing personalized professional development. I have learned more just in the creation of this video more than 99% of all math teachers that are in the state of California, just on the blueprints, just knowing the differences and the changes and the new focus and everything else. So, integration of content again, depth of knowledge, emphasis on modeling real world again. It says culturally relevant PBL can deeply engage students by connecting math to real life issues that matter to them. For instance, projects could involve budgeting for a family, planning community events, investigating rates of change. These activities make math tangible and showcase it. Communications and reasoning, we want the kids to explain their thought processes, to make the presentations. Even in our environment, which is on self-paced or self-study, students need to be able to discuss, actually hear the words as they're learning of material and the use of technology and tools. Then I even went deeper. I said, all right, so there's 11 months in a year. I'm getting students in my environment that coming in. I get 11 graders every month. So I said, can you recommend 9 project-based learning activities to prepare my students using the SBAC blueprint for high school? Can you recommend 9 culturally relevant topics? Please include the standards, claims, and targets aligned to the task. And what did it do? Look what it came up with. A project on community building. Students create a budget for a local community event. Consider the cost like the venue, food, and entertainment. Environmental impact study. Investigate the impact of population on local water sources through data collection and analysis. Cultural heritage mathematical mapping. Map out historical landmarks in a community and calculate travel routes, distances, and costs associated. Sports statistics. Analyze local and school sports. Nutritional data analysis. Compare nutritional information of both local foods for recommended balanced meal plans. Entrepreneurship project. Community service project. Local history population study. Weather impact analysis. Weather impact analysis. See, these projects are designed to engage by connecting mathematics to the real world, connecting mathematics to the real world contents, helping students see the value and application of their mathematical skills. And the last thing I did said, well, can you provide me a specific on Common Core standards with each one of those? And look, it even gave me the Common Core standards associated with each one of these project bases. Then I said, can you provide a lesson plan, a student activity, and a 4-point scale grading rubric for testing for these tasks? Be more specific to make the task culturally relevant. And it gave me another lesson plan, local history population study. Look at this. Students will analyze historical population data of their local area to model population trends and predict future growth. It even gives me the grade level for this. It gives me the Common Core standards. It gives me a list of materials and stuff to use. And here's the activity. Each one of these activities for the students to do research, data analysis, model development, preparation for the presentation, because we want them to be able to present their ideas and what they learned. Here's the student activity guide. And then finally, it gave me a 4-point scale for grading rubric. Wow. This is an example of how to use AI to become a more effective teacher and how to provide some engaging content for students today to be able to learn mathematics. This is why every school, every teacher needs to understand AI, and you need to develop an AI prompt engineering team. So this is Dr. Smith, and I did this presentation. This one went a little bit long, but as you can see, it takes me about 20 minutes to actually go in depth over one of these things. But this saved me so much time. Hopefully, you watching this video will actually help you get a better understanding of why you want to use AI. I'm going to continue this little seminar. I'm actually going to make use this as one of the first videos in the modules of showing how to use AI. It's going to be a free video. So if it's not on here now, on this video right below, you can go ahead and click on that link. And that link we'll be able to give you the opportunity to participate in a free webinar. Until then, this is Dr. Smith, and I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully this is helpful. You need AI, so make sure you go ahead and start learning it and everything else. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little bit of hint, a little head start on some of the things which is coming up. Let me kind of go back up in here. So, yeah, I have a lot more up in there. We're not going to have time, but uh, if you scan this, go ahead and scan this, and then you will be able to take you to a page like this where you can enter your email, and as a result, you'll get copies of this book about helping students learn math, and you get this one as well. Again, this is Dr. Smith.